Look at this. Sacred Bones Halloween Kills soundtrack on vinyl. Comes with a poster. I didn't know it came with a poster. Okay, so after a wait that was a year longer than it was supposed to be, I have finally seen Halloween Kills. And I actually saw the movie last night, and I fully intended to come home and either record it right when I got home or record it first thing the next morning. But I woke up this morning feeling like I really wasn't sure how I felt about the movie yet, so I actually went and saw it again a couple hours ago, and now here I am talking about this. This is actually my third time trying to record this review because I'm really having a hard time expressing my thoughts on this movie properly, so this time I have notes for myself. Like many of you, I've been incredibly excited for this movie. It's been my most anticipated movie of the last 2 years, bar none. Nothing has even come close to how excited I've been for this. So I really was putting a lot onto it, but over the last week or two, I've really started to taper my expectations a little bit because I remember going into Halloween 2018 so excited and leaving it, loving it, but a little, sort of deflated because of how excited I was. And when you get to a certain level of excitement, nothing can really live up to the image you've built up in your head. And I wanted to try and not do that for Halloween Kills. I wanted to go in with some more level expectations, especially after hearing some of the reviews. Yeah, I definitely have some things to say. Halloween Kills opens sort of tying up a bit of a loose end from Halloween 2018, and then we very quickly actually get into this flashback scene that everyone has been hyping up. And again, I'm not going to say anything about the scene, but it is incredibly well done. The look is indistinguishable from old 70s and 80s horror movies. They really nailed how this looks in terms of lighting, the camera work, the character costumes, the way their hair is done, vehicles, set design, the music even. They changed the style of the music very slightly for that sequence of the film, and it works so well. I'm not going to say anything about this in case you haven't seen trailers, but there is one aspect of this flashback that is really going to impress you if you're a fan of the original Halloween film. They did a very good job with this flashback scene. I was really happy with it. So this film is filled to the brim with returning characters from the original Halloween, as well as the 2018 film. We have characters like Tommy Doyle, played by Anthony Michael Hall. We have Lindsay Wallace, played by Kyle Richards. You have Marion Chambers, played by Nancy Stevens. You have Lee Brackett, played by Charles Cyphers. Again, all these returning not only characters, but a lot of the times the original actors who played them, save for Anthony Michael Hall playing Tommy Doyle. That's played by someone else this time around. Robert Longstreet is playing Lonnie Elam, who was the kid who bullied Tommy in the original movie. And I can watch Robert Longstreet in anything. I love this guy so much. I've been a huge fan of him every single time I've seen him do anything. And of course, you have Allison, Laurie, Cameron, Karen, and then these are the characters from Halloween 2018, and they're getting together with the original characters as well as the town of Haddonfield once it gets out that Michael is back and he is not dead as we thought he was in Halloween 2018, as we thought he was. We all knew he wasn't dead, come on. This is essentially a movie about mob mentality. This is the whole town of Haddonfield banding together to kill Michael Myers. Evil dies tonight. We get some backstory on certain characters, just giving us a look as to why they personally have a vendetta against Michael and why they want to be a part of this and go out and try to put an end to his reign of terror, because it's quite a reign of terror. I'll get into that in a minute. This is very much a middle chapter in a trilogy, and that that might bother some people. It didn't bother me too much. It certainly is not a complete story on its own, but it doesn't have to be, because there is another entry coming next year. So I wasn't expecting this to have some crazy interesting story that would tie everything up. Now, because of that, this movie has to heavily rely on the tone. And the tone of this movie is where I start to have some issues with it, because it kind of felt like the movie was fighting itself at times. There's a lot of references to not only the original movie, but the other films in the franchise, and that's great. It's a lot of it is eye candy for Halloween fans, and it is like Halloween the Ride. I heard Jimmy Champagne put it like that, and he put it quite well. It is very, very much like that. You're getting a lot of things that are just there because they were in other movies, and you can go, hey, look. And then that's all it is. It's just, look at that. I remember that. And then it really doesn't pay off to anything. But my real issue with the tone was the humor in this movie. I really it did not work for me. I am in the minority where I actually enjoy the humor in Halloween 2018. It didn't bother me nearly as much as it bothers a lot of people. Now, there are certainly some moments where it doesn't work, but for most of it, at least I've grown to enjoy. I don't remember exactly how I felt about it back in 2018, but I enjoy the humor in that movie, generally speaking. Now, I found in Halloween Kills, it kind of conflicted with the other side, because they were going from this very dark and somber tone about, the repercussions of banding together and being in this crazy, violent fervor. And then you'd get a really awkward and out of place funny scene. It didn't work for me. I remember Julian in 2018 had me and the whole theater laughing our asses off. There was none of that in this movie. I mostly just found the humor. I was like, why? What? Why is this happening? A couple times during this movie, I audibly was just... because I was pretty annoyed with some of the jokes and just where they went. It didn't work for me, and maybe that'll change over time. I hope it does. This is a very fast-paced film. This is not the slow-paced and stalking Michael Myers that you knew from the original Halloween, and somewhat in the 2018 version. He wasn't as stalkery as he was in 78 there, but it's certainly more so than in Halloween Kills. In Halloween Kills, if Michael shows up, he's just immediately killing everyone. Yeah, everyone. The movie is shot very well. There's some really solid lighting in it. I enjoyed everything like that. The technical aspects of this movie were really great, and that should not go unnoticed. The music was pretty good. I don't think it's as good as the music in Halloween 2018, and I think a big issue is that the two best tracks on this soundtrack by far are Rampage and Unkillable, and they released those two tracks weeks prior to the movie coming out, which means that, at least me, I'm very heavily into music, so I tend to listen to a lot of it, and a lot of the stuff I listen to is soundtrack work, and I've been listening to those two tracks quite a bit, getting hyped up for this movie. Then when you see the movie, nothing is even close to as good as those two tracks. Like, if they'd released Prison Montage and The Shape Hunts Allison prior to 2018 being released, I would have been very frustrated. So that was one issue I had, but the music is very good, and they use it well in the right spots. It didn't have the same impact for me as Halloween 2018 did. There is no The Shape Hunts Allison moment in this movie, what could have lived up to that? Let's move on to the thing that everyone is talking about, this movie's namesake, Halloween Kills. I sound like a bit of a broken record here because everyone has said this. This movie lives up to its expectation. There are a lot of kills in the movie, and Michael is pretty sadistic in this one. It's like, have you ever, if you have a dog, or I'm sure cats do this as well, or different pets, when they find a fly, they don't just kill the fly. They play with it. They toy with it. Once it's injured, they bat it around a little bit, and they're dancing around. That's what Michael does in this movie. He hates you, and he wants you to suffer and die very slowly and very painfully. And good Christ, is he brutal in this movie. Now, it's pretty gory, and it's probably one of the bloodier and the gorier Halloween movies. There were certainly a couple moments where you're kind of going oh my God, he's having fun in this one. It's, as I said, it's very sadistic. He's very brutal, and you can tell that he's having fun with it. And that's part of the thing that makes you go ugh, because you can tell how much he's enjoying just reveling in how brutal what he's doing is. I really appreciated that it was all practical effects in terms of the gore, and that's something that I'm a huge fan of. I don't like CGI, so I very much appreciate that they opted to go the practical effect route for this, as any good slasher movie does. And it, yeah, paid off. There's some pretty gnarly kills in this movie, and I think especially for people who aren't accustomed to seeing that kind of thing, it could get under their skin. Bear in mind that I have been watching one Halloween movie every week leading up to this movie. So I might be at the moment a little desensitized to that kind of stuff, especially coming off of, you know, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. The movie's got a pretty satisfying third act. I think it certainly leaves you wanting more. There are some questions that you're going to have leaving this movie, and many people are complaining that the movie feels incomplete. I can see both sides of the argument with it. You can make a movie stand on its own, even if it is part of a continuing story. And I think Halloween Kills doesn't have much story of its own to tell, but it's entertaining enough to just be a fun watch. And I think that's really, you know, where I stand on this movie. It's fine. It's entertaining. I enjoyed watching it both times I saw it. I'm going to go back and get a bunch of friends together, and I think that's ultimately the way to watch this. You know, just get a group of friends together and go see this movie in the theater or on Peacock at home, and have a good time with it. And I think that's how you're going to really you're going to get the most out of this movie if that's how you go into it. Because if you go into it expecting as much character work as there was in Halloween 2018, you're not going to get it. And I'm not saying there was a ton in Halloween 2018, but there's barely any in this film. Most characters are very one-dimensional. They're just introduced and then they die. That's most of what you get out of it. You don't get much depth into really anybody, which, again, that can go either way for people. I think this was an entertaining movie. Best Buy already has Steelbooks available for pre-order, so I got mine, thankfully. I have no idea when that's coming out, and I'm looking forward to seeing the movie again, and maybe I'll give finalized thoughts once I've seen it another time or two, and maybe we'll get into spoilers for that video, who knows, but again, I'm not getting into that in this video. So do I recommend it? Yeah, I do. It's not my favorite in the series. It's not my least favorite in the series by any means. There are certainly some worse, sequels in this franchise, but it didn't live up to everything I wanted it to be, and if I'm being totally honest, I did feel a little disappointed the first time. It was kind of this deflated feeling because I did build my expectations up, and I was expecting something other than what this movie was. So, to be fair, I kind of did that to myself. I was anticipating the movie to be something that the filmmakers did not intend it to be. So that's not on them. That's me. And I fully acknowledge that. So I am very much looking forward to Halloween Ends. I want to see how this trilogy concludes. As I said, there's certainly going to be a lot to finalize there. The end of this movie it's so hard to dance around spoilers here. The end of this movie, it'll. So did you see Halloween Kills yet? Are you planning on going? Do you have no interest in seeing it? Let me know down below what you thought of the movie if you have seen it. And before this ends really quickly, I just wanted to say thank you all so much. The channel hit 100 subscribers really quickly. I was not expecting that, and it came out of absolutely nowhere, so thank you very much. And yeah, I hope to see you all next time. All right, take care.